Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. Activist. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on Gearist TV. Today, we're going to talk about the men's Activist shoe from Patagonia. The very first thing I want to talk about with the Activist shoe is that this thing is 100% vegan. A lot of times in a lot of shoes that are considered to be veganish, they still manage to use some dyes or some adhesives that do have animal byproducts in it. That is not the case with this shoe. 100% vegan. So if you're looking to live the vegan lifestyle and carry that across into all aspects of life, this is definitely something to take a look at specifically for that reason. The first specific part of this shoe that I want to talk about is the upper. The upper on the Activist is made from a ripstop nylon that is water resistant. Note, not waterproof, but water resistant. It does quite well with splashes and things like that. Additionally, around the upper, tying it well into the sole, is this rand. It's a faux suede rand. Have you ever been looking at a shoe and wondered what this thing is called? It's called a rand. It does a really nice job of increasing the water and weather resistance as you get down to the sole, which is frequently where a lot of leaks happen in shoes that are supposed to be more water or weather resistant. The ripstop nylon that I mentioned a minute ago is actually a really compressible fabric, and what that means is that it's not a super stiff fabric that's going to get in the way of the shoe being able to be packed and kind of crammed down into a bag, a pack, or a suitcase. We'll get onto that a little bit more later, but it's super compressible, as you can see. There's no real heel counter. It's not very stiff that's going to get in the way. This thing can basically be flattened into nothing if you need to. Increasing its weather resistance is the fact that the shoe is seam sealed, making it very difficult, if impossible, for water and snow and slush and things like that to get into the shoe. The soft upper does make it really actually quite pleasant and very easy to wear with or without socks. However, I will say that wearing it during the summer, my foot got a little bit hot. But I think this is going to be a wonderful shoe to slip on anytime during the winter, especially if you have to deal with a little bit of slush or snow or rain, especially as the weather starts to get cooler. Now let's move on to the outsole a little bit. This is made from a 20% recycled rubber. What's really cool about this, and being a self-proclaimed shoe nerd, one of the first things that I look at in a shoe is the drop. That's the difference in height from here, the heel, to here, the metatarsal heads or the forefoot. I want to make sure that the lowest drop possible is happening in there because I like it when my foot stands in a neutral, very natural stance, meaning that the forefoot and the heel are on as close to the same plane as possible, much like your foot would be if you were standing barefoot on a level surface. In this shoe, it feels like there's hardly any drop. I haven't been given the stack heights and don't have the proper calipers to measure it, but I can tell you that this is a pretty much level shoe, a pretty much zero drop shoe. Super comfortable in that aspect. Now for the outsole itself, I mentioned earlier that this shoe was very packable. We talked about that being in the upper and things like that. Now, when you're packing something, if it's in a pack or if it's in a suitcase or if it's just in a briefcase or something like that, oftentimes a shoe may be packable and compressible from the top, but you still need to kind of wedge it and bend it into certain places to get it to fit right. Unfortunately, a lot of shoes today have a either carbon fiber shank or a metal shank or some sort of stiff shank that runs from the heel to the forefoot. Not so in this shoe. If you can look at this briefly, this shoe is completely bendable and malleable and can bend around corners. Say you wanted to put it in the corner of a suitcase or a bag or something like this. This shoe just makes it happen. I mean, it's really impressively flexible and bendy. Now, some people, being that this is a shoe by Patagonia, may be tempted to take this off-road onto hikes and things like that. You certainly can do that. However, in my experience, there are some limitations. Now, if you want to take this on some fire road or a nice, well-groomed, hard-packed trail, that's absolutely fine. It'll handle that just as well as anything else would. However, if you want to go on something that's going to be very rocky, a little more technical and things like that, this probably isn't going to be the shoe for that. Being that the outsole is so flexible and malleable, there's simply not a lot of protection, as it were, that appears in most hiking approach shoes and things like that. That's not going to be there. This is more of a casual shoe that is not necessarily meant to be as rough and tumble and as hardcore as some shoes that are meant to take on more technical terrain. The fit of the shoe is very true to size. I wear a size 11 and this really runs very accurately to where it should be for an 11. What I really find very nice is the vertical volume. a lot of times, even though a shoe may get longer, they don't account for any vertical volume. This allows you to flex and curl the toes while they're inside the shoe, making for a really, really very comfortable fit. Oftentimes people want to know what a shoe is really great for and what it feels like. Well, in my opinion, this is kind of your do-all shoe, especially if you live in a place like I do, Boulder County, Colorado. This is pretty much certified uniform for this area. It's definitely going to be something that's going to fit in on the streets, a little bit of light hiking, a little bit of adventurous outdoorsy stuff from time to time, a very, very versatile shoe. If you wanted to know what it feels like, I would say, honestly, that the closest thing that feels like this to me is my favorite slippers. It's super, super soft. It lets my foot just kind of flex and really feel at home in the shoe itself. This is definitely something that is a very impressive shoe. I've had it for a couple months now. It's held up very, very well no matter what I've done in it. I am very curious to see how long it holds up. People that like to rotate their shoes with the seasons or because they wear out and have that first world problem of really rotating in shoes as their fashion whims move them may be a little disappointed with this, only because this is a very durable product. This thing is going to last you across seasons. It's going to go from one to the next and really not give you any trouble. This ripstop upper is super, super durable. So if you like having a new pair of shoes every 6 months, you can still buy them, but it's kind of a waste of money because this thing will still be looking like new, sitting in your closet, waiting for you to put it on, just like your pair of favorite slippers. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Gearist TV. Please click on over to Gearist.com and subscribe to this channel. Just in 1 second, you're going to see a big blue subscribe button. Click on that. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next time.
As always, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Gearist TV. Please click on over to find us at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And while you're here, please click on that beautiful blue subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.